Arfield, what a bully! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. It's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He's got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that!
Only by Paul Teller. Off for a hat-trick.
He's got it! Hat-trick for Nathan Teller! Oh, he's on fire at the minute! 3-0 Burnley! It's Nathan Teller's day! And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby!
Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Have a shot.
Oh, the goal! Manuel Benson once more! That is top class! Burnley have done it! Fantastic! Clarence deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everybody and welcome along to the latest episode of Turfcast Podcast with me, Joe Redmond. And it's not a pre-game show, as I usually do. I just thought, you know what? It's the FA Cup. I'm going to mix it up a bit because I'm not overly arsed about the FA Cup. So I'm not going to put all the effort in that I usually put in. I'm just going to do a live, let people, whether it's guests or commenters, set the agenda, and then we'll go from there. There are a few things that I do want to discuss. But first of all, I'd like to welcome the guests to the show. As you can see, Neil is here. How you doing, mate?
All good, mate. Yourself?
Yes, I'm good. You're practically living in a war zone at the minute, aren't you, with the Town Weir derby coming up this weekend?
I am, and I don't know if you've seen or interested, but it got stopped up a little bit today because Sunderland mentally decided to decorate their Black Cats
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Mags
Me and
colours.
Liam have
Mental.
both tweeted about that, and
It's
it's just, why would you do that? They're practically rolling out the red carpet for him.
I know. The logic behind it is that they've given them something like 4,000.
Presume it's money. Yeah.
Well, it will be, but there's 4,000 whole tickets in the home bit. I'm led to believe, and in that bit is where the Black Cats bar is. So obviously Newcastle get hospitality in there, but instead of just giving them as it is, they've decked it out. Well, apparently it's been took down now because obviously all the outrage and stuff.
Oh,
but
well, the fact that they
on top
in the
of
first
that,
place, so.
Well, yeah, but on top of that, they've also got a fine because when they've printed the tickets out, it's got Sky Bet League One on the as the fixture. It's just been a shambles all around. So
yeah, I mean. I'll bring Liam in a second and introduce him, but Lebowski says this is nothing new. It stops them smashing up the gaff. Burnley
they're still going to smash it up.
Burnley have never done that. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand taking the Burnley branding down or the Sunderland branding down, but to physically put all these fucking Away the Lads branding up, and they even had a cheer up Peter Reid sign up, which is an anti-Sunderland song that they sing. Yeah.
It's the fact that they crossed out. Because I didn't know this, but apparently, obviously, I'm up here. So
different
the way that
of the Haway
and Haway is spelled, and across the Sunderland way out, it's just like, come on, don't decorate it. Take the branding down, but leave it.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, because, you know, like us and Batters both have no name never chance technically. It's like literally just our part of the no name never and just copy out and then, you know, call it Burnley Bastards instead. Yeah. That's basically what they've done. It's honestly one of the worst things.
Peter Reid sign. That is literally an anti-Sunderland song. They've literally put an anti-Sunderland song. It's just balmy. Yeah. But anyway, as you can see and hear, if you're listening on the podcast, Liam the Goat Warrington is also here. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. I'm actually quite looking forward to the game tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, it's bizarre because I'm not bothered about it, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to it in the sense that I can watch the game and not be worried about what Luton are doing, not be worried about what Sheffield United are doing. I'm not checking the league table, but we'll get into the game in a bit. Just want to say hello to all the usual people in the chat. We've got John Payne, that's a new name. He says hello, John. Then he goes on to say, first time I made it to the live chat. Well, welcome, John. It's obviously a different time that we usually do the lives, so this will be a good one for you. Sue just says Sue. Speaking about himself in the third person, I like it. Matthew Corbett says, good evening, lads. Evening, Ginger Ali. I've not seen that name for a couple of weeks, mate. Hope you're well. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hello to you. Ryan Collins. Yeah, we'll get into this one. We'll get into this one first. He says, Benson's already loaned a bit and company reports saying we need 2 times fullback. We'll get into the rest of it, but I do want to start off with the fact that it looks like Benson and Zaroury could be on their way out. It could just be one. It could just be both. It could be one or the other. But it's an interesting one because you kind of understand it, but at the same time, you think it's mental because we all love them and we all wanted them to play in the Premier League and feel like they should have had a better crack of the whip. Is that the saying, isn't it? In the Premier League. But the fact that they're not playing in the Premier League and they are 3rd, 4th, 5th choice, potentially, maybe even further down than that with some of them, then you can kind of see why they'll be going out. Neil, what's your thoughts on it? We'll start with you, mate. I personally get it, but if I don't want to sell them, if it's a loan with a view to buy or obligation, whatever, daft from me. If it's just loan and then reassess it again in the summer, because, it's looking like we're going to be back down in the league below and some other players might leave. If a big bid comes in for Odebear, I can't see how we're going to turn it down. But your thoughts on it, please, mate.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think it'll be anything permanent because it'll be sort of keeping them warm for when we inevitably are back down there because we know Benson and Drury are in the Championship. They are class players. The thing that I get it in terms of I think I put this in our group chat when it actually happened is that we saw in the documentary that the model is that we'll sell 2 or 3 players, 2, 3, 4 players every year. But for me, why 2 of the people who are responsible for us being here in the first place when they haven't really had a chance to prove themselves? I mean, he's stuck with Trafford. I mean, Trafford, it's worked out all right in the end because he's come good now, but he's stuck with Trafford and gave him a fair chance. He's stuck with Dart O'Shea and gave him a fair chance. And for me, he's still not all that. But he's sort of just dismissed Zaroury and Benson at this level without actually giving them a fair crack at it. And that's what's baffling for me. Surely there's other players who you would think we can probably let them go before them. Obafemi, J-Rod, for example, who just clearly isn't up to it anymore. Jack Cork, who I can't remember if he's actually played. In
the cup.
In the cup. So, surely there's others who are probably, you would think, makes sense for them to go before them too. The thing that baffles me is that they haven't been given a chance. Now, I know Benson's been injured.
That's my gripe.
But he's been injured, but apparently he's been fit for a month now. So companies just clearly just refusing to play him if that's the case. Zaroury sort of has a chance. I think the red card hasn't helped his cause whatsoever. I think that was sort of company sort of made his mind up then. But it baffles me that they just haven't had the chance to prove that they are. He's just decided they're not ready for this level without actually trying them. Whereas other players have been given that chance to sort of grow and prove that they are probably all right at this level. It's baffling for me. It's baffling.
Yeah, no, don't really disagree with any of that. I do feel like it's a shame that they've not been given a fair crack of the whip. It's interesting to see that he's stuck by some people and been adamant to get them up to this level, but other people just haven't been given the chance. Liam, your thoughts? Because obviously behind me, thank you to you, is an amazing iconic print that includes Benson. He was a massive part of last season and just not been given the chance, and now he could be off. So your thoughts on it, please, mate?
Look, I completely agree with what Neil said. That sadly, part of our recruitment, part of our philosophy is that as a club that isn't run by an oil state, the most natural way to grow financially is by buying a bunch of players, young players with potential that you can look to develop and then hopefully sell them for 3, 4, 5 times their value that you brought them in. Make money on your investment and grow that way. And that's kind of, it's a negative of what our philosophy is, that when we have players like a Benson Zaroury, we bring them in for 3 mil or 3.5 mil. Our aim is eventually to hopefully flip at some stage and make our money and then some. So we all love Benny, we all love Anas, and I completely agree as well that they've not been given a chance. People may say that Anas hasn't particularly been great since February, March, even last year back in Championship.
World Cup,
he's not been given a chance. And it's just such a real shame because I still feel like there's some great players there. And the one thing is that I find kind of strange is the fact that we offered them both 5-year deals in the summer.
Yeah.
So is that just so that we have more of a reason to ask for more money if an offer does come in? It's like, oh, well, they're on this big deal. We've got to ask for more money, which Is that the case? I don't know. It's just a real concern for me because I get why, because we want to make money, which is the entire point of being a stable club. You've got to make your money somehow. But I just feel like, it doesn't sit right with me that if Benson has been fit for last month, because I still think he's a fantastic player. And we are, by the way, still desperately in need of an actual natural right winger because we aren't playing any. It just seems baffling to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the one that annoys me more. I loved Anas, and I remember at the start of last season, I was like, okay, this kid is fantastic. He's probably going to be my favourite player this year. In the end, it turned out to be Teller. But it was so good at the start of last season. Did drop off, as you both said. But Benson, he's been fit. He's been wanting to play. We've been struggling on the right-hand side. We've got a million left wingers, so the left side isn't an issue. But on the right, we're playing Johan Berg Gudmundsson, who's, he's okay. He'll do a job. He's solid, but he's not going to run at players as much as Benny will. And it just annoys me that it hasn't been given that chance, to be honest. So I do agree with that side of it. But on the contract situation, actually, I do want to just mention that you mentioned then, Liam. I think at the time we gave them new contracts because we thought they were going to be in the team. And we thought that the likes of Corley, Osho and Odebear would probably have to wait a couple of years to get in it. But now we're in a scenario where we could say, okay, well, they've got 5 years on the deal. So it's one of them where we could be like, we're glad we've given them the contract because we're going to get X amount for him rather than lesser amount than what we would have done. But I think at the time, I don't know. I think we brought in these two youngsters who have then impressed, and then Benson and Anas have just fallen away a little bit.
I mean, Benson has got the injury, of course, which didn't help, and Anas with a red card. But even still, it kind of brings in terms of the idea that I don't think we really planned well for the season at all, which is annoying considering that, let's be honest, we all knew that we were promoted by November. We all knew. So we had all this extra time to get prepared. And the most clearest, obvious example that I can see of why we just didn't plan is that we all knew Josh Cullen was going to start. Turns out he's not even near the pace. Now he's no longer even on the bench most times. And of course, our fullbacks, Taylor last year wasn't even considered a left back in the championship, is now our main left back. And Fitino, that was not even our main right back in the championship, is now our main right back. And both Roberts and, well, of course, Mortson, we didn't replace. And now they're both no longer involved. So that's just the most blatant example of we didn't exactly have the plans in place to really compete at this level, which of course is maybe naivety of the board as this is new for them, and same thing with company as well. And that's something that you can understand. And as Burnley fans, of course, we're all company in. I hope you are still, Neil. I know that last time you were still questioning.
No, there was an update. There was an update at the weekend, mate. I'm on board. I'm on board.
Yeah, so it came crawling back, Liam. Don't you worry about it.
So we all know that.
The caveat
as long
is still
as we
there,
see
though.
progress, that's the main thing. That's all I'm like.
The caveat is still there, right? If he brings a winger in before the other positions, the doubt is there again. But we've settled our differences. I'm friends with him again. But I agree with you there, Liam. I think for me, they've clearly had this plan, and we've heard it said before. We've come up too soon and that sort of stuff. But for me, it just seems like the fact that we've come to the Premier League means that they still haven't updated that plan. They're still going with it. So the thinking is still Championship for me, and they're still thinking about that instead of changing the plan and accelerating it and thinking, well, we're in the Premier League now, so let's do that plan. It's still they're sticking with it, is what it seems to me. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
And that's what's baffling for me, because I know that you can say, "Oh, we're not ready. We'll go down. We'll come back." But who wants that? You want to be in the Premier League, and then you want to sort of build.
You want to be dining at the top table, don't you?
Yeah. What's the point in coming up and thinking, "Oh, we're not ready. We'll go down, and then we'll do it again." And then, "Oh, we're not ready. We'll go down and do it again." What is the point? We've come up now, so plan for now and do what you need to do now to stay in this league and build from there. And that's what we don't seem to do at the minute. Is deviate from that original plan. In some ways it's admirable, but in other ways it's frustrating because we're here now, so let's make a good crack of it and try and build on this.
Yep, fair enough. Keep your comments coming in. Leo Caldecott says, makes me wonder if something else is going on behind closed doors. We know Vincent isn't sentimental. If the deals are right, there we'll go. The only baffle to me is Redmond getting in above them both. Sue says, most defenders will struggle with Benson and his low centre of gravity. Don't get why he's not played more when fit. Always more to a story than it seems, though, and Solent.
His long shots as well.
Sorry?
His long shots, the Premier League as well, his shots from range. The curlers that he puts in. We're missing them.
It's a shame we've not seen that. That'd be prime Barkley's, that, if he were coming in doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is a shame he's not that a chance. And Sonnet does say, agree with Sue. There's more to this than we know. I mean, people are obviously always going to speculate, and I kind of see why people are speculating. There's nothing to suggest that there has been a fallout. I just think, as Liam has said and Neil's agreed, it's just the club model. They're not playing anymore, and we're a business. We're not run by an oil state. We're not run by, we're not being used to sport wash. So people are going to be sold on. And I don't necessarily mind it, but I do find it difficult because like last year, we were all properly in love with that team, weren't we? And like we were in love with Muric and the journey that he went on and the defenders and obviously Teller and Martin who had to leave. And it's just difficult to grow and love a player. I'm just being a bit sentimental here when you know that they're just going to potentially get sold on in a couple of months. Like Orderbeck could be gone by end of the month.
Yeah, it could. I don't think this model that we've got now under ALK now and Pace affords you to fall in love with players. I think we've just got to accept that they're here for a season, 2 seasons, then they're going to go. That's probably the way it's going to be from now on. So just don't get any names on your shirts and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Aaron Wright says, I don't mind selling Benson as it makes sense if it's 10 million plus. You triple your money and then you can activate a Jakob Bruno Larsson clause for 1.5. Interesting. Thoughts on that then, boys? Like, that's the non-sentimental view of it, isn't it? Like just getting players in and churning them out. But that's, like, as we've said, that's kind of the model, isn't it?
The very first interview that company did when we first brought him in was that in the first, I think they did like a 3-part thing. And the first part was actually on about buying players with the intention of selling them on for profit. And then we grow naturally that way. And that's the first thing he even said when he came here, that is what he wants to try to do here. Bring in players, young players with potential that we can develop and really bring something out from them. And that is what we're going to aim to do. And that's kind of been obvious that we've still been doing that. That's why we put in Odebear and Koleosho and all these other young players as well. That, Koleosho, I think he cost us, 3 mil or 3 mil. He was pretty cheap. I think we forget how cheap he actually was. And I think Odebear was around 12, 13, a bit more than we probably may remember actually. But we're probably looking at making very good profit on Koleosho, and that's the benefit of our philosophy. It's just that, you get sentimental as we should be sentimental, but ideally, how else do you grow naturally as a club? You've got to sell your best players at some stage, or they sell them when you're not using them. And Benson, Zaruri, we're not using them. So if we can get 10, 50 mil each, whatever, that's 4 times more on our investment. And for me, even though it sucks, you've got to see it from the business side, and it kind of makes sense if we've already got technically their replacements already here.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with any of that. It's just weird, like, because as a fan, you don't look at it like that, do you? But then sometimes it comes to this point, and you just have to. You just think, well, yeah, I understand why they're doing it. But your thoughts?
As I say, I 100% get that. I get the business side of it, and I know why they're doing it. It's just, as we said at the start, it's just the fact that they've not really been given the chance that other players have had. That baffles me. So I know people have said in the comments that company sees them in training every day and stuff, but training is different to the match day in the Premier League, and I just think it would have been nice to see for ourselves that they're not up to that level. Other players have, as I said, been given the chance to prove themselves, and it just seems weird that they've just been written off without that, really. But it's interesting that I can't remember who tweeted it out, but Koleosho has been mentioned at international level now as well, saying that they're well aware of him.
I did see that.
So that's obviously there's heat around him at the minute. So he's probably going to be the next out the door if he gets international and his value goes up. So I think it's just get used to this now, lads. We're gonna see players come in, fall in love with them, and get our hearts broken.
Yeah, well, the saying was, "Don't fall in love with a lone player." I think the saying is now, "Don't fall in love."
Yeah, just don't fall in love. Yeah. They're all commodities.
Fall in love with women. Yeah, fall in love with women, not footballers.
Even that's terrifying sometimes.
Tell me about it.
I said probably less stable actually than footballers.
Yeah, definitely. There's a question here for you though, Liam. John Payne says, Vizza, do you think it's possible to get a David Ayres pause? So you're going to have to let him know which goal, mate. But Vizza's always looking for more ideas.
Is that the Canadian centre mid that we had, the DM?
No, it's the striker who was David Ayres. Well, I don't know.
I'm thinking of David Edgar. Sorry, I'm confused with David
Edgar. Yeah, that's a bit, No, he scored plenty of goals at Ayres back in there. He was my favourite player growing up. I probably would doubt.
Is that in the Andy Cook era, like late 90s, or was that earlier?
just before like Andy Cook. I think Andy Cook was like the striker. Andy Cook and Andy Payton were like the strikers after
David Ayres and stuff. David Ayres before Payton.
Mid-90s, weren't it? Yeah, mid-90s. Yeah. The Wembley goal is probably the goal that John's referring to be fair. So it's obviously a good one, that. Yeah, as Stephen Berry says, all those memorable David Edgar moments. So yeah. But yeah, we'll just go on back to the transfer market, because unfortunately most of the rumours.
Okay, I got confused. I had to make Stockport game. Okay, as
Aaron says, as Aaron says there, obviously the game at Wembley, Ayres scored the equaliser, and then Parkinson obviously scored the winner. Fun fact about that game: my mum didn't let me go on. I wasn't allowed to go on because I was only 7. I was too young, apparently. I'll never forgive you, Mum, for that. But
my brother did moving on me for Reading away, by the way, for the semi-final playoffs.
Yeah, I read that one. I read that one. I presume you were at both, Neil.
I weren't, mate. No, I was only a nipper myself, although not quite as young as you were.
No, you weren't quite as young as me.
I weren't. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm happy to let. That Solent, I think that must be wrong because he scored the goal in the playoff final. So that must be wrong, mate. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, definitely. But he scored the goal in the playoff final, which were what, 95? Yeah, so I do want to chat about this. Meme God says, any left-back predictions? He then goes on to say, should we go back for Martson? But as Aaron Wright has already corrected him, and so did Sue. Sorry, Sue, I missed that one. He's going to Dortmund. It looks like, Martson's going to Dortmund. Are we gutted that we're missing out on him, or is it just Charlie's doing all right at the minute and Vitinho's filling in that right back position, or is it, how do we feel about missing out on Martson?
You're gutted that we've missed out on him in the sense that he fits the company system, where we know he does already. But Charlie Taylor's done really well, so we don't miss him in the sense that, I don't know, if he was all that good, someone would have snapped him up beforehand. He clearly didn't want to come. So for me, what's the point of a player who didn't want to come? Or didn't want to re-sign, sorry. We only miss him in the sense that it would have been a natural left back to go with Taylor. But it's worked out all right, so I don't think we're missing in that sense.
Fair enough. Your thoughts, Liam? I guess Taylor's come in and done all right, hasn't he? But we do miss the balance that Martson brings.
I mean, I do feel like with the way that company wants to play, because I think right now he's currently adapted his way of, his kind of philosophy to suit what he currently has, which I think he's done a relatively decent job of trying to actually change us and try to protect our weaknesses. I do think the fullbacks are massively key in the way that we want to play and how he wants to play. So if there is a player out there that he wants that we can actually get at a reasonable price that he thinks would improve us, then I would say go for it, because I think a proper fullback in the way that he wants is very key. But issue is, I think you need it on both sides. You can't just have one really good and have one that's not really fitting. Otherwise, I don't think it's balanced. So it's a tough one, because ideally to get a fullback, because they're quite rare to get in the way that he wants it at this level, they'd be quite expensive. So it's going to be a big risk of, are we going to spend a lot of money on a fullback? But then if we still go down, how much of a problem would that be? It's a tough one to really decide. Are we going to?
Well, they were going to chuck 30 million at Matson, weren't they? They were going to chuck 30 million at him. So there's obviously they're prepared to pay that for left back, aren't they?
What, in this window or just back in the summer?
In the summer.
Well, that was back in
that was the report,
summer,
wasn't it? The report.
Yeah, but of course now in a situation, I mean, is that worth the risk if we still go down?
Yeah.
Depends how if we're really rich, and it's fine. But the thing is, we don't exactly really know how much money we actually have. We could have billions. We have no idea, because the AOK model, it just seems like a multiple different range of investors. I've heard some people say some Thai or some like investment from nowhere. We have no idea. We don't actually know what our net worth actually is. Maybe we're fine, but that's one that we got to decide ourselves. And I think if we see a player that would actually instantly improve us, then we'll go for it. If not, there's no point for me.
I also think our market's probably changed as well, mate. I think our market is probably completely different. Had we been where we all, I say that like all of us predicted that we would be mid-table and comfortable now, our market would probably look different to what it is now. Our market is probably looking for players who are going to be Championship next year. Let's be honest. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, right. Definitely right now. And I do agree with what you two have just both said then, and the comment that I've left from Ginger Alley on screen. I liked Markson, and I was gutted we couldn't bring him back, but I didn't really want him for 30 million quid. I do feel like it's too big of a risk, even though I've just taken on board what you just said, Liam. Like, yeah, but even with the potential of how much, net worth and things like that, it's even with the FFP, that if we'd have stayed in the Prem for a few years, we'd have had to sell quite a lot for a £30 million hit. But yeah, I did like Markson, and it's a shame that he didn't come back. But at 30 million quid, I do think it would have been too much of a risk. And even now, because Chelsea triggered an option to keep him till next season, so they're still going to demand 30 million quid for him, and it's definitely not worth it now when you know we're in the Championship next season. So it's a difficult one for me, that one. I would have liked to have seen him come, because then we wouldn't have had to be playing Vitinho on the right, because he has done well in certain parts, but at certain parts playing against fast wingers, he does get exposed a little bit. So it's an interesting one, is that one. But in other terms of incomings, there's not been too much really to talk about. Like, I mean, we've been linked again with Jack Clark, but I just think that is, number one, probably bollocks, because we've got a million left wingers. And number two, lazy journalism, because we were interested in him in the summer. So thoughts on that one, chaps?
So up here, mate, I know that they are expecting him to leave, or they think he might leave.
This window?
Not this window, but next summer. It's taking it summer, but apparently Sunderland are not going to let him go for anything less than 20-25 million. So it's not going to be. Yeah. I can't see that in this window.
Yeah, no, can't see that happening even next window if they're demanding 25 million for him, because like I said, we're going to be in the Championship.
Yeah, I mean he's their sort of star boy, isn't he? They're not going to let him go. Although I've also heard that he was promised that he could leave last summer, and he obviously didn't come to fruition. So he's actually really annoyed. It just depends who you talk to around here, but I do know that he's on the feeling is that he is on the club's radar, but he's just too expensive at the minute.
Yep, fair enough. I mean, as Mike says here, we can't sign him. He's another left winger. Golly gosh, he ends with.
Also, I genuinely don't think he's better than what we've got either. To be fair, I really don't.
Well, we're stacked in that area now, aren't we? We genuinely are stacked in that area. Like, you don't need to be spending 25 million quid when you've got the likes of Wilson Odegaard and Luka Koleosho there waiting in the wings. Like, why would you spend 25 million on Jack Clark, as good as he is, when we have players that are just as good, if not better than him? Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that's pretty much it for incomings. There's not been anything. Just quickly going through our feed again. There's a Jack Clark thing that I've just mentioned. Interested in the move for Hearts captain? I know nothing about him, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, the striker.
Yeah, Lawrence Shanklin, yeah. But there's a few clubs on looking at him. So if the likes of Everton are looking at him and Palace, then I can't see us getting him, depending on obviously who goes in with the highest bid. But I don't know anything about him. Do any of you two know much about him?
No, I'm not clued up on Scottish football, unfortunately.
He is a hero up there for Hearts, but like you can't really compare the Scottish League to the Premier League. It's just like, I don't really see. I know that we probably need a striker as well, but I don't think he's the answer personally. I think I saw some about like a Papagay from France before the window was open, but I don't know if that's just a lazy link as well. There's nothing solid in that, I don't think.
No, I've seen a few rumours like that, but yeah, nothing major. So there's not much else in terms of incoming, which is a shame. But I'm just going on the stuff that company's been saying in the press conferences. He has said there's not going to be too many. They're not going to be bringing in Premier League ready players. If they do bring somebody in, it's going to be again somebody with potential that they can train up to be a decent player and sell on. As we've mentioned, it's already the model. And any players that do come in will probably be on loan. So even though I'm going to try and get Andy Jones on from the Athletic at some point in this window, as I do in every window, maybe Matt from the Bale Express, we'll see. He might mix it up. I'm not expecting too much. Are you boys expecting too much?
I think AFCON and January are January's a difficult window, but with AFCON it's even harder, I think, because that's our
Asia
sort of
Cup
market,
as well,
yeah. Asia Cup, that's our sort of market, so I can't see anything. Not early January anyway.
Because if some players have AFCON and like they don't really want to let anyone else go.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what Burnley are like? We might have like 3 incredible announcement videos tomorrow. We don't know. But no, I'm not. I genuinely don't expect anybody. I think we're signed enough in the summer. But it's interesting that I think you tweeted it, Joe, that we believe to be in the market for every position apart from left wing.
Yeah,
it's
practically
essentially
and a goalkeeper.
It's our summer shopping list, isn't it? Still, so we'll see. I'm not expecting anybody, but obviously,
I saw that company said something about left back, centre back, right back, centre mid,
Yeah,
striker
yeah.
that we're looking for. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically an entire team.
everybody.
An entire team except left wing and goalkeeper, basically.
Yeah.
Well, both wings to be fair, and a goalkeeper. But yeah, it's a shame because it's quiet. It's a comment here from Harry. I've not seen this. I was just quickly looking at it while you two were chatting. Then apparently Barnes has left Norwich.
Did you
Seen
see
that
his,
on Norwich
did you see
Twitter
his
last night.
wrestling last weekend?
Against, I did see it.
Oh, it was phenomenal. It's like he's sort of like I think he wrestled someone to the ground and then did a double clothesline. Oh, he lost his head.
Is that so? Has he fallen out with whoever the manager? Who's the manager there now? Wagner.
David
Has
Wagner.
he fallen out with Wagner? Yeah, has he fallen out with him?
I think he fell out with everybody that weekend. He was on one. He was so bad tempered, Barnes, because I saw some of that game. He was in such. You could tell he was just in a bad mood. And then obviously he did that wrestling move and then double clothesline and got himself sent off.
I'm just watching it now, actually. Yeah, I'm surely he's not left. Surely he's not left them though.
He's been dropped from the team, so usually that means that they're probably going to be on their way out in this window.
I mean, where are they now? They're not doing very well, are they? I mean, has Ashley done well down there?
He's been injured for the last. I know a few Norwich lads, and he's been injured for the last 2 months or so. He's just come back in the last week or so, and they like him, but they know that with his age, he's not really exactly exciting for many fans. They're not doing particularly well at Norwich right now.
No, the 13th, aren't they? I'm just looking at the league table now. The 13th.
There's kind of a disconnect between the board and the sporting director. So it's not really Barnes' fault. It's just that they're kind of in a transition of their old sporting director, Stuart Webber, leaving, and then they got a new guy coming in, and it's just kind of waiting for everyone to kind of leave at the stage. So it's kind of a transitional year.
Just looking on Elon's little thing, and there's a lot of Norwich fans saying, "Aye, I can't." Well, you don't know what to call it these days, do you? There's a lot of comments from Norwich fans saying, "What's this about him leaving? What's this about him leaving?" So there's obviously something going around.
Interesting. Well, I will keep on top of that, hopefully. Before we get into the FA Cup chat, and please, if there's anything you want us discussing, let us know in the comments. This topic, some people have found it quite boring, but I find it quite interesting, and I don't know about you two. But Neil, you did point out about the new... Sorry, Liam, that's only over your face. I thought
it's all right.
But they've brought in this new writing for the FA Cup game, so it's basically going to be worn once this season. But as you can see at the bottom, there's that little B. There's the little B, and now Pace has been wearing the hat quite a lot, as you can see now on screen, with the B on it. Now it's looking like this, and I know the fan advisory board, people in the fan. I'm not on the fan advisory board for full disclosure, but I know people on the fan advisory board who do speak to me, and they've been speaking about this to the people on the Fab for a while, and it is going to be sort of like on things like training gear and other sort of merchandise and stuff like that. I'll start with you, Neil. What are your thoughts on it? I don't mind it as long as it's not like the main crest. I don't mind it being used on hats and random shirts. Personally,
it depends what they do. It doesn't it? I mean, it's very American. Let's have it right.
100%. It is.
Incredibly American.
It is.
However, there is a trend at the minute, and you see it all through the Premier League. There's a trend at the minute for third shirts to not have the traditional club badge on.
Yeah.
So maybe it's going to be a third shirt thing, because I know Liverpool, Man United, clubs like that don't have their traditional badge on the third shirt. So I know Man United's got the devil. Someone else has got a different one as well. So maybe it'll be a third shirt thing. But merchandise and stuff doesn't bother me. But if it replaces the actual crest on like the home kit, for example, then surely that's going to cause meltdown, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think a B. I mean, no matter how good a B looks,
it could have been better. Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do something like what United have done, use like, if you take our badge, and use like, I don't know, the B, and then like use like a portion of the badge, like almost like one of the older Burnley badges I'm thinking of, like it without the actual like shield. It's just like what's even on top of our badge? It's not a chicken. It's like, what is it?
Well, the old badge had like a knight's helmet, didn't it? Is it a knight's helmet?
Oh, you mean like the two fat 90s?
But we can't have a lion, because then you get Chelsea, Villa. We can't have a lion.
Yeah, I agree. Or just like something like a Lancashire Rose with a lion holding it, because both of them used to be on the old crest. Or the hand, because the hand that was on top of the old crest that is I think it's part of the town motto, "Hold to the truth." So that'd been good. But I do agree. Even though I'm sure it's a lovely B, it could have been better than just a B.
Or we could even just have an actual B on it.
An actual bumblebee.
It's the River Brun, isn't it? That's the river that's on our badge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the River Brun with like the line underneath and then the two little diamonds and a B. Like that just like that kind of part of it. Just I think that looks really nice. Again, I don't really care too much about this, but like with the B, fan on merch, that's fine. It's simple. But if it's on a shirt, I like them to go down that route. But end of the day, I don't care that much because in reality, we don't seem to ever wear third shirts. It's kind of pointless because we always wear a home shirt.
Yeah, we've worn it once this season.
Yeah,
the current third shirt.
It's not in the world really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. It's one of them. But it is obviously FA Cup this weekend. Spurs down at Spurs. Liam, I'll start with you because you did say earlier you're quite looking forward to it. So you'll probably have more enthusiasm for the game than me. Although, like I said, I'm looking forward to the fact of not having any pressure on us for this game. So not having to worry about the likes of Luton, Sheffield United, Brentford, that sort of thing. But it's going to be interesting to see some other players because obviously we've got Bayer injured, Berg suspended. You'll probably see some other changes as well. Vincent has said in the press conference that he won't see a lot of changes, but there will be some. And obviously you've got the two enforced ones as well. So your thoughts on the game, please, mate?
I mean, I'm quite looking forward to it just for the element of it's not in the league. So like there's just the pressure is gone of that. I did watch or listen to the presser today, and I'm pretty sure company said that he would treat it like another Premier League game, so he won't expect to see too many changes. I think he even said the word two, like one or two. So of course Berg's not there, so you may see Cullen back, and of course Bayer's not available, so you're probably going to see Dakio alongside O'Shea at the back. But I'm still expecting to see our main players. Like you would like to see, I know people would say, I want to see Benson, I want to see and start. I don't think we will. I think we're still going to see probably on the right, probably Johan, and on the left, probably Trezor. I think Foster will start with Amdouni. I think that he's going to treat this like a Premier League game because in his mind, as he said in the presser too, he doesn't want training sessions. He doesn't want trainings anymore. He wants games because that's how these players get more used to each other. That's how they can actually build that cohesion as a team. So he's going to use this as a perfect opportunity against a top club, of course, that he's going to probably go full strength. And of course, whatever we learn from this game, we can use it in Premier League. So I can see it in that way that we're going to see a full strength team here. As much as I want to see Anas and Benson play, I think he sees this as a great opportunity. And again, it sounds lazy, but it's Spurs in the cup. You never know. It sounds crazy, but they're going to probably rotate quite heavily. I don't think we will. So let's go for it. I mean, if we get battered 3-0, I don't really care too much. So just go for it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'll put a comment on screen there, kind of building on what you just said, Liam from Solent. He says it's a great time to play Spurs with their injuries and play his way for AFCON and Asia Cup. If we go with a full-strength side, obviously we can't because of Bayer being injured, who in my opinion is our best centre-back, and Burge being suspended, who in my opinion is our best central midfielder. So we are going to be a bit weaker. And I expect, as Paul Holt says later in the comments, I think Muric will play with minimal other changes. So we've got the ones that are enforced that I've just mentioned and you mentioned, Liam. Probably Muric coming in because that's just what you do with the second keeper. You play him in the cups. Yeah, after that, I don't think there were too many. Maybe Masengo. He might be the guy that comes in for Berg. Maybe Cullen, though.
I'd be baffled because of Cullen. I just can't believe he was a Players Player of the Year and also the Fans Player of the Year, and that we all now think that, oh, he's shit now. I find that so crazy how the change of the league can dramatically change your opinion on a player. It's so scary, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. It is. But he did get overrun in the early parts of the season, but not a lot of them were good, to be fair, in the early parts of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see who he plays in centre mid. But other than that, I'd expect him to play Odebear. I'd expect him to play Foster. He's just had 8 weeks off. Don't ruin the momentum that he's built recently by playing really well at Fulham, playing really well at Villa, by dropping him again. Stick him there, gets a goal at Spurs. That's going to help his confidence even more. And then right wing, maybe Jakob Brun-Larsen or Goodmanson, something like that. Neil, your thoughts on the game, please, mate, and any potential changes we may see?
I say go full strength, mate. I still love the FA Cup. I know it's not fashionable these days, but it's the cup. When I was a young'un, I still love it, mate. So I want us to go on a cup run because we've had years of not bothering with it, and we've got new owners now and a new gaffer. Let's just go for it. Like, let's just see where we go. Get to Wembley and just give us something. It'd be amazing, mate. I want us to have a cup run. So I say play full strength and go for it. Obviously play Muric
again. Oh, I can't even imagine that, man. Oh, I can't believe it. I still hate Roman Pavlyuchenko, by the way. I still hate him to this day.
Oh,
I know,
put that
but
tweet out yesterday, didn't you? And I was like, first player.
Yeah, I was doing a bit about Spurs now. I was like, oh yeah, because that's literally the only game I've ever actually cried at. Because I was at that game, of course, like all of us. I was actually in Lower with James Hargreaves with my dad, and he never goes games. And literally, his worst day of my life. I still hate him. Anyway,
I was 21 at the time, and I was sat in my usual seat where I still sit now, and I was with my dad. I just about fought back the tears because I was 21, and it would be pathetic if I was crying over football at the age of 21. But I remember at the end of it, when we'd lost, and the full-time whistle hadn't gone yet, but everybody was stood up and just clapping and chanting and just trying to give the boys a bit of a lift because of the run that we'd been on and everything that we'd been through. And I would have sat there just despondent, just not caring in the world. And I remember my dad smacked me up back at head and went, "Get up." So I stood up and had to just stand watching him. And I had a couple of mates that came over from uni because I was at uni at the time. So I had to drive back from Preston, and then I drove back that night. And I had a couple of mates that came over for it, and I managed to get them tickets in the Lower Jimmy Mac. And I just didn't say a word. I just didn't say a word from Burnley to Preston, straight back into the dome, door locked, into bed. Every time someone says Roman Pavlyuchenko, I say,
which is probably rare at this stage, to be fair.
Yeah, it is now. But back in the day, his name would come up a lot, and I'd always say, "Brought me out, that lad," and he did. He brought me out that day.
I kind of forget as well how late he actually did score. I just checked from the other day. It was like the 180th minute. We were 2 minutes away from Wembley. Of course, it didn't work out again. We did go to Wembley eventually later on that year, of course. So it worked out, but even still, so late on the game.
It's just mad though, right? Because like mad things do happen. Like, you've got a dream, haven't you? Like, if we give up on the Premier League, at least give us the FA Cup to dream. So let's go on a cup run, right? Let's go on a cup run. We get past Spurs. We get a favourable draw. We get past Spurs. It is a good time to play him, although Ange will probably still play at full strength because he's mad, isn't he? He'll just stick to his principles anyway.
And also Spurs are desperate to win something as well.
And Spurs are desperate to win something, yeah. But if we get past them... It would be
hilarious if we won.
It would, right? But if we get past them and then get a favourable run, you never know. You never know. Millwall got to a final against Man United years ago. You never know. Let's just see. Let's just not give up on the FA Cup because we've got now to shout about the Premier League. So let's just keep that dream going on.
Yeah, it's one of them for me. If we were 12th, 11th, and looking like we're not going to go down, I'd be like, yes, full focus, FA Cup, we can do it. We can finally see Burnley win something. Because I've seen Burnley do pretty much everything now, apart from win a major trophy. And that's the last thing I want to see them do before I die, which will hopefully be a long, long time away yet. So there's plenty of time. That's the next thing I want to see him do. However, with the position that we're in, I won't say I want to be out, but if we have a heroic defeat tomorrow and slip out of the FA Cup, I'll be like, oh, what a shame. We can concentrate on trying to turn the Premier League form around.
I mean, with a Luton Luton at home up next. I mean, Christ, that game is. I mean, if
it's huge.
That's going to be it.
The focus is on that, isn't it? The focus is on that. To be fair, but yeah, I still love the FA Cup, so I want us to go as try as hard as we can.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, predictions then, lads. I'll start with you, Neil, seeing as you just went on a big spiel about get past Spurs, favourable draw. What are your thoughts on the game?
2-0
predictions wise.
3-0 defeat. Yeah, we're not going through, but let's dream. let's at least dream.
Fair enough.
It depends, mate, doesn't it? If Song's
like
out,
isn't it?
Is he out? Is he right? So we'll have a chance.
Asia Cup started, hasn't it? Yeah, the Asia Cup and AFCON both started at the same.
I get confused because there's players leaving at all different times, isn't there? So I'm getting confused where we are. But It depends.
I'm pretty sure he's.
What
I think he's available, but I think they just won't play him because they probably don't need him.
Is he available? Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth the risk of them getting injured.
No, do you know what? I'm going to go for it. Let's have Burnley winning. Let's do it. I'm not giving you a score, but let's have us win.
He's had half a bottle of Cruz Campo, and he's predicting Burnley winning at Spurs. Not even a bottle. Oh, he's at a can and a half.
That's a lot, actually. Okay, now that explains it.
Fair enough. Ginger Ali says 2-0 Spurs. Harry says with Bayer out, I think we lose 3-1. Paul Holt says Clarence win on penalties after 2-2. That's the point because penalties tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no replays.
Hear me out, right? So we go tomorrow. If this is my version of Sam's listen, right? we go tomorrow, and it's tomorrow, isn't it? Right? So we go tomorrow, and
Friday night. Yeah,
it's a distraction from the league. The lads are playing without any pressure on them whatsoever. That can only work in our favour. No pressure. Just go out and enjoy yourselves. See what happens. You never know.
Fair enough.
Yes,
Liam, your prediction, please, mate.
Neil sold me. I'm going to say 1-1 draw, winning penalties. He sold me. Magic at a cup. I mean, someone did say in the chat earlier, I need to scroll up quickly, from Harry saying that Foster will be dangerous against the higher line, which is actually probably a good fair point because I do think we do play a lot better away from home because I think that we have to set up much more defensively to hit them on a counter. And we have got better defensively and we have got better in terms of deciding when to pass out from the back and when just to let go. We are better now. We're not perfect. We will make a mistake, but we have a pretty good counter-attacking team. It's just kind of defensive side of it also hold out. And sometimes it won't, sometimes it will. We saw it at Fulham. We did pretty good in that game plan. So I back us a lot more away from home than we do actually at home, which is why I'm terrified for Luton at home the next week. So if we plan to set up like that for remaining parts of the season, we have a chance. I'm not even ruling us out getting relegated yet. I'm not, just because I'm waiting for Luton at home, precisely, actually. And then at that stage, I don't know what I'll say after Luton if we lose. I don't think we'll lose. I think probably draw. I don't know. I
think we have to win that. I think we have to win it to be made.
I think we beat Luton.
How far are we
ahead of
away
us
from
with the game in
Everton?
hand?
5 points. It's not actually that bad. Like Bournemouth.
It's not horrendous, but if they beat us, then that turns into 7. And that's just unassailable from what we've been for me, in my opinion. Although I just want to stop there because Aaron Wright has put a comment in saying it does go to a replay, lads, and I've quickly checked it, and the current rules are that replays are scrapped from the 5th round onwards, so it will go to a replay.
What?
Apparently, according to this from TalkSport, from the 5th round onwards, there are no replays, meaning that games that are level after 90 minutes. Hold on. From the 5th round onwards, there are no replays, meaning that game. Yeah, so 5th round onwards. So the 3rd round would, I presume, go to it. Next season, another comment. Next season, it goes to pens. This year is replay.
Okay, so it's for next year, from 3rd round. Okay, because I saw a lot of hoo-ha about a bunch of clubs in League 2, non-league, saying this is absolute bollocks. Because what about us? But if it's for next year, I guess that does make sense. Why we're confusing it.
Yeah, doesn't matter, lads. We're going through. Don't worry about it.
We're still going through a pen. It's fine. We'll find a way.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. We got Spurs in the FA Cup. It might have been the League Cup quite a few years ago, and we drew down at their place.
Sordell, that's the FA Cup, yeah.
Was it the FA Cup? And we played them back here at the Turf. And because tickets were dirt cheap, I got my dad hospitality. And we had an 18th hospitality, and it were a good night. Paul Alt's changed his prediction. He says, "Win the replay, then." So fair enough. Anything else anyone wants to discuss before we wrap it up? Anyone in the chat? Anyone as a guest? I think we've pretty much covered everything. I'm going to, like I said, try and get a journalist on the show to fill the 2-week gap coming up. Not sure if we're going to do a full-time show after it because I'm working Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see. I'll chat to a few people in the group. We'll see what it is. But I think that's pretty much it. That's a point. Townsend coming back to the Turf. Nailed on. He's going to score. I was going to mention it.
I was going to mention him actually. I think we made a mistake in getting Redmond over him. I think we should have got him. I know that he apparently failed his medical, whatever, but he had a great pre-season. He looked sharp, and he looked really good, and he's done all right for Luton. I think we made a mistake.
I mean, he's clearly doing well at Luton. You can't sit there and say he isn't. He obviously is, and we haven't given Redmond the chance. I think it's harsh on Redmond to say we made a mistake. But in the sense, he just hasn't been given the chance. At the point I'm trying to make is Redmond.
By the way, as well,
great name by the way, Nathan.
We do like to think that Redmond is like 32 years old or something because he feels like he's just so much more older than everyone else. But he's actually 29. He's 29.
He's 29.
He's 29.
It don't help that he looks 39. To be fair,
yeah, we all think that he's like 33, or he's like what Aaron Lennon was to us a couple of years ago. But no, he should be in a peak of his. He's actually, I think he's a good player. But like, what can you do with 4 minutes left to go? I'm still annoyed that Townsend didn't get brought in because I remember when we played Benfica that I think
it was class in pre-season.
If I wake up to Townsend not being signed in the morning, I'm throwing a riot. And well, he didn't clearly. My camera's died. Sorry about that. But yeah, I have no idea how he would have got in.
It's a bizarre one. Like I got in a bit of trouble by putting the information out about Redmond, about Townsend, but apparently he did fail his medical. Somebody at the club told me they failed his medical. However, he obviously went to Luton, and then they would have seen the same issues, and they've just thought, well, it's worth the risk, and that's why they gave him a pay-as-you-play deal. But as Harry says, his knee could go any game now, and now he's signed a contract. He's probably just going to sit on the bench for the rest of the season.
Why didn't we give him a pay-as-you-play contract instead of giving Redmond a contract and not playing him? You know what I mean?
That side of it, I agree. I don't know why we're not playing great name Redmond not playing him and just leaving him on the bench when we could have been having Townsend, who played very well in pre-season. It's a weird one. It's a weird one, but I understand why the club looked at his knee and the fact that it had zero cartilage and said, "This is ridiculous. We're not bringing him." And I think it's the business model, whereas we're trying to bring players in to sell on for a profit or whatever. And Luton are just like a case of the squad needs to be as good as it is now sort of thing, whereas we've gone with a different sort of eyeballs on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, Luton's playing to their strengths, aren't they? Luton.
Yeah, they are. They are, to be fair. They are. Paul Holt does say he'd rather have Redmond, Koleosho or Odegaard than Townsend. I mean, I'd agree with that. All three or one of them. But if you mean each individually, Townsend's done very well this season at Luton. And if you're looking at each, there's not many players I would have from Luton's 11 in our 11, but Townsend is potentially one of them.
But that's because he's like an actual natural right winger, which we don't really have. We have got Johan and Benson, who's injured or not injured. I don't know at the stage anymore. It's crazy to me. And
not solved. We don't know. It could be anywhere.
Yeah, it could literally just be. It could be anywhere right now. We have no idea.
Yeah.
It's so strange, honestly. I love Benson so much, but like he's more than good enough to at least be on the bench. He's definitely the best impact player that we have. 100%. I don't care if we saw it all the time in Championship and Premier League's different level. I don't care. When you've got the ability to bang it in as consistent as he has, you've got to try him. And from what I've seen, he can still take players on, cut inside, and do that lovely little cross to the back stick with his left foot. He did that thing last time that he played, like 2 times, which had a great delivery. Like just that alone, that's what Townsend did for us, and he did goals for that alone for Luton and Force in pre-season. So, yeah, he's so worth to be on the bench at least.
That's the thing with Benson. That's the thing with Benson, right? Even the Premier League, the way he hits that ball, there's no keeper saving that. So yeah, he might not be able to take players on or whatever, but if he gets a chance to hit that ball like that, it's a goal because there's no keeper saving it, whatever level. So yeah, he's more than good enough to stay in the squad. So it is baffling, but sure Vinny knows what he's doing.
Does it?
In fact, I don't even know. I don't even know if it's Vinny's decision, to be honest. It might. Well,
if we sell, it's obviously it's not Viz's decision. It's obviously Vinny's decision.
Definitely not my decision, mate. Come on.
It's definitely Vinny's decision to not play him, but obviously moving him on, it won't be. Interesting though. It's going to be interesting. I would play him tomorrow personally. I don't think we will, but I would play him. I think he deserves a chance against a good side. He deserves a chance in the Premier League. But I'm pretty adamant we won't play him, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, interesting. I want to end with the most. Solon is like our random stat guy, but this is the most random stat I've ever seen. Apparently, Nathan Redmond went to the same school as Luke Littler.
I think it's just a joke about his age. I think it's a joke about his age.
Is it?
Because we're saying that he's only 29, but he looks 40, same as Littler.
That's what happens when you come back to comments. 3 hours after they've been put in.
there's not a chance on earth Littler's 16. I'm not having it. I'm just not having it. He's not.
It was quite funny. I was driving home from work last night listening to TalkSport, and for some reason there was a lot of very weird people ringing up TalkSport last night saying they wanted him to fail because they don't like him. Bizarre. They were happy that he'd fail. I know, it's bizarre. But there was one guy that kept saying, this so-called 16-year-old, and they're like, what you want about so-called? He is. He's like, well, I don't believe that he is. Is that what you mean you don't believe it?
It weren't me. It weren't me. But,
no, it could have been.
There's no way 16, but it's baffling, it. Tough paper on it.
Yeah, paper round in Chernobyl, I think, mate. But yeah, we'll start wrapping it up there. But there's been a lot of comments, Liam, for you from the chat that we had earlier. John Payne, he says, "Can Visit post a link to getting posters?" Rather than posting the link, Liam, just want to let him know what Twitter it can follow and request prints on.
Just Mazzala Designs. I'm sure that you've probably seen it quite often tweeted or quoted by Turfcast themselves. It's just my own personal site, which is kind of crazy because people keep on thinking it's like a massive company. My emails tells me that quite a lot, but I've got to insist that it's just one person because people expect next day delivery like I'm Amazon. It's quite frustrating, but I understand that maybe it means I'm doing something good. But actually, I might as well ask you two here because he's brought up the question: what should the next Burnley Mazzala print be in terms of like an iconic goal? Because I was thinking about that the other day, thinking I'll get one for like later on this month.
Nathan Redmond's winner against Luton.
Oh, that be one? Spot on.
The David
I kind of want to get Akinbaye feat Chelsea or like Pato.
Yeah, that's a
Reading.
good shout.
I don't know why.
Yeah, Pato against Reading's a good one. Ayres against Stockport. Obviously, you've got Elliott against Sheffield United. You've got Benson against Bastards. Barnes against Bastard. Have you got that one with
yeah? Have you got when he gets the keeper flying to the net.
I seem to remember that one. There was a little dot.
Tell you what, it'd be a good one, mate. It's not. I think it's like underrated as a goal. But you know, Westies against
Villa.
Was it Leicester or Villa where it's basically turned that season around?
Oh, Leicester. Yeah, Leicester.
Yeah, Leicester. That one.
Yeah.
The 4 against Man United's a good shout from Aaron Wright.
Yeah. Have you got J-Rod? Have you got J-Rod against United?
I've not got J-Rod against United, actually.
J-Rod's a good shout.
For some reason, people seem to forget that game. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've not got much interest in that one, even though we won. But I don't know if that's
I was in the Stretford end for that one. Which was an experience.
You were in a box, weren't you?
Yes. I was in a box, yeah. I was in a box.
I think I remember watching a slightly tipsy vlog.
Yeah, we did. I remember I was doing camera and I was drunk it back at car. Funny. Robbie Blake against United. You've got that one, haven't you, Viz?
That's literally the Turfcast certified one that you did.
I'm going to say, like, I remember tweeting that one. I can never remember. What else is there?
I think the 4 VNS is one that I would like because I was there that day. But because we drew again in the same way we always drew 2-2 at United, it's almost like I don't think it's a dampener because it's still a great away day, but still, I don't know.
Yeah, so if you do want a print, John, if you're still here, just follow Mazzala on Twitter. If you can't find it or spell it, just go on Turfcast, scroll down, you'll find it. I'll tweet something after this. I'll find a Twitter to retweet after this, and it'll be at the top. Ings against Blackburn, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's definitely on there. That's probably the first one I did actually after Elliott.
Is it?
Absolutely.
That's a good. Yeah, Elliott. I was going to say Solom's put Wade Elliott against Sheffield.
If Brendan's not on there by now, then I'm doing something wrong. That's the first one I put up there. Come on, has to be up there.
But no, well done on that, Liam, because obviously, as you said, it's took off mad, and it's literally, I can't, every time I go on Twitter, it's somebody requesting something, and it's like random stuff like someone put earlier, someone requesting a darts thing yesterday, and you've started doing F1 now and stuff like that. So yeah, well done on that, mate. It's good to see.
I tell you what, Michael Jordan's final.
You know what? Yeah, I've been thinking of some NBA prints, but like I just know from the American community, so I don't even know how to even get into that scene really. Barnes Micah Hyde feedback.
That were a great goal. That was a great goal. That was the first goal I ever saw score against Blackburn.
That wasn't the one though that we lost like 5-1 or something. Was it?
No, it was 2-1 we lost. We did lose.
Oh, okay,
this is the problem with these. This is the problem with some of them though. You just still end up losing.
I think that's why J-Rod against United is such a good shot, because it was a win at Old Trafford.
But for some reason, people remember Defoe for United much more than J-Rod for United for some reason because of the Boxing Day and the goal itself.
It was a good goal, but J-Rod's was a banger and all. It was a great goal. That.
When you ask most people, they just all figure Defoe for some reason. I know it's not for some reason, but that's just what I guess I find.
Yeah. Was that in Stretford End, Joe? Was it at the Stretford End? J-Rod?
What, the J-Rod goal? Yeah.
Oh.
The J-Rod one was. I remember because because we were pressing and I kept getting anxious because I kept shouting and a few people started turning around. So I just gone back into the box and shut the door. And as I shut the door, I turned around. I seen Jay hitting it. And obviously I was on there with Simon, who used to be on the podcast, who does all the hair now. And I just saw him stand up and go, oh, what a hit. And about 5 people just turned around like that. And Simon's brother had to pick him up and drag him back into the box. And then we just closed the door. It was well funny.
I mean, I guess that's one way to one good way to kind of end off this pod is that what's the best goal that you've seen live?
Patterson at Reading. Has to be Patterson at Reading. Has to be. That was such a good away day. Not to bring it up, Liam, because I know you just mentioned that your brother didn't let you go.
Yeah, I'm still pissed off.
Yeah, I just remember because obviously we were 1-0 up from the first leg, and Reading had been the better side in that first half. And I remember thinking we're going to end up losing this here. But thankfully that goal was sensational. And I remember it were rushing and they were just all the Reading players were back and he was running forward with it and he was in the middle of the park and he had nothing. He had absolutely nothing on and he must have just thought, fuck this, I'm hitting it. And I remember screaming, no, don't shoot as he hit it in classic Redmond form. And it just went, and honestly, and then obviously Townsend's not long after. That was probably the best atmosphere I've ever been involved in. And I remember, Liam, when you did the Longside podcast, you got me and Adam on and we spoke about our favourite ever away days. And that is still my favourite ever away day to this day. And that's including Blackburn from last year. Just such a good away day, that.
You know about last year about Blackburn, honestly, it annoys me so much that even when you're watching on TV, that it doesn't look
it looks
proper.
shit, doesn't it?
It should have been so much more. I cannot believe that those scumbags got a limited hour attendance in that away, and I hate it still because it looks so bad on telly, and everyone last of us oh, it's not a proper derby, not even for the new away end. Shut up, you prick! It infuriates me.
Even more so when was it Leeds the other week where they got the whole stand. And I'm going, oh, look at Leeds, they took everyone down. It's like, well, yeah, we would have, but, you know.
Bastards by name, bastards by nature.
It wasn't even 3K we were allowed.
No, it was 2,200, weren't it? Something like that, yeah.
Honestly,
it wasn't even on the side of the stand that was on telly. So on the telly, it was empty
that's
seats.
why they put it there. Fucking wankers.
Yeah.
Because it just makes our derby look bad to the rest of the country. They're so infuriating how they did that for us. Honestly,
they've ruined it for themselves. Aaron Wright says the best goal he's seen live was unfortunately against us, Shirley for Fulham. I do remember that one. Do you remember that one that Chelsea? We're not Shirley for Chelsea, weren't it? Is that the one?
Yeah, it was the first.
He's on about the Chelsea one. Yeah. Weghorst versus Argentina, says Bushman John. Bushman John. Sorry.
Actually, I don't think you said your answer. Actually.
No, I'm going to go. I know I've already said it, but I'm going for Westies. You know, because it was just magic.
That's a rogue shout.
That is a rogue shout. That's proper.
I know it's a rogue shout. I know it is, but it was. You know what it was? Because that season was dreadful, and then that goal went in, and it just felt like everything was all right. It was just it was more the feeling.
Aaron says he is on about the Fulham one, not the Chelsea one. Fair enough. Sorry to put your nails. Wanted to put that right.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I'm going for that. It's because it was just purely the feeling at the time. Because that just really felt like something. So yeah, I'm going for that one.
A lot of people are now going for goals against us. So well done, Aaron. You've started this goals against us thing now.
I wasn't even
considering goals against us. That's not what we were thinking about.
Our goals.
Yeah. Son versus... I wasn't on that game, thankfully. I still, to this day, and I've told it him to his face, Matt Lawton should have crunched him, should have brought him down, should have tripped him up. And every time I see him, I remind him. I just want to go back a second before I end the show. Big shout out to Mox EAS for the £2 donation. If you haven't sent a donation in yet, what are you doing? Get some donations sent in. No, I'm joking. Thank you, obviously, for that, Mox. And he says, would you ever do NFL prints? He's obviously talking to Liam, not me. So I don't know why I've sent £2 for Liam. Liam, I'll bank transfer it. But he says, love your work, by the way. So any NFL prints in the pipeline?
I actually did DM JJ actually about that. I could probably get something up for him, just for a player, like an actual person print for him. And he said that he's interested in that kind of thing. So we'll see what could happen with JJ.
That was my first thought process then when he said NFL. I'm like, just get JJ to promote it, and then you've cracked America.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I like Stephen just put Loughton v Palace. Loughton actually reached out the other day that he wants his goal v Palace sent over to him. So that's being done for him.
Oh, I forgot that goal, you know. That was a quality goal, that wasn't it?
That was a
during
lockdown
COVID,
goal,
no one
weren't
really
it?
remembers.
Yeah,
that
I'm going to start with a lockdown goal,
Yeah.
I remember that's when we were doing watch-alongs, Neil, and I remember just shouting, Louts, when he scored it. I was like,
I think for me,
my
most favourite Burnley goal, most mental, is probably raw because we don't really hear it too much anymore. But probably Chris Wood's penalty against Olympiacos away to make it 1-1, because that just felt like it was meant to be an away goal, and I still to this day get pissed off, and I look back in our Europa League and not just our teams that we put out, but why didn't we sell out turf? It was nowhere near full. It was 16,000. And to this day, I'm
some people just weren't taking it as seriously
all
as
about the Europa League, and we didn't fill out turf. And it's I still don't get it to this day, because it was midweek. I don't know if was it too expensive, the tickets? I don't know.
Obviously, I went on every single game apart from Istanbul away, so I were well up for it. You know what? Going back to the goals for the Prince, Vaux's against Aberdeen would be a good one. I know it were only 1-1 against Aberdeen, but it's Burnley's first goal in Europe since the 1960s. That'd be a good angle with that one.
I would like that one. I would like that one.
Cornet's volley against Southampton was good, says Bushman John.
Going back to Chris Wood, because
if it's Cornet, it has been against Everton, you would think.
I'm thinking that.
Yeah. Chris Wood there, because someone mentioned Chris Wood. Do you see his hat-trick the other day? How good he took?
Yep. And he's a dick for turning into Messi. Yeah,
I know. How well he took that goal was unreal. Anyway.
I was listening to the Gary Lineker pod, and they brought up the fact that a journalist after the game said to Chris Wood, saying there wasn't really very Chris Wood goals of you, was it? It's cheers for that, pal. Chris was cheers. It's they weren't really Chris Wood goals, just actual finishes in the back of the net with his
I'm going to say the journalist has basically gone, I thought you were shit. What is all this about? You're all of a sudden
you scored some good goals there, you big lump of meat.
He scored a hat-trick for Burnley against Wolves as well that time. And, if Woody has the right manager with him, he's a good player. He's just a confidence player. That's Woody's problem. He's just a confidence player, but he's a very, very good finisher. Probably, he will do very well under Nuno at Wolves. At Forest. I just think he's lost his way a little bit since leaving Burnley. Not really had been playing in a system or with teammates.
Newcastle was 100% the wrong move for him. He should never have made that move.
And Forest under Cooper wasn't working out for him, but I think Forest under Nuno will be really good for him.
What was it that Woods said when he left us? Something about he
comfort zone. He was in his comfort zone.
Comfort zone, yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people lost the rag at that. And I will wrap up soon, I promise. I tried to wrap up 20 minutes ago.
That's
a lot of people.
I'm so sorry.
I prefer it when we chat, mate. I just wish I hadn't said, right, I'm going now, because I reckon about 20 people probably turned off. But a lot of people lost their rag at that and sometimes use it against him. I don't think he's criticising Burnley there. He's criticising himself. Said he'd been here that long. He just lost the get up and go. The what is it? Stuff to get up and go to work every morning. He was just in his comfort zone. He's just a dig at himself, I think, rather than us.
Yeah, it is. I think I was really angry with him at the time because he was my favourite player. So I was really angry with him when he said that. But on reflection, I think he's right. He was digging himself. He was just saying that he'd got complacent and he needed a change, which is fair enough.
Hopefully,
I don't want
he's
to
out of it now.
this for you if you do want to go at some stage, Joe.
I
was going to say something else. I was like, nah, you probably don't want to say that.
The only issue I have is my missus finished work in 20 minutes and I've done nothing in terms of housework all day. So
he's doing some speed hoovering.
Yes, I'm going to speed washing up more like and speed folding clothes that have been in the dryer for 6 hours. Hopefully they're not too creased, so it's not too obvious. But I will start wrapping up. If you are late to the show, like Muzamil Shaw was here, says, hi, what's up, guys? I'm a little late to the show. Up the Clarets. Apologies, but we are ending the show now. However, when I do press end stream, it stays on YouTube for you guys to watch back at your leisure. And I will be uploading this as a podcast pretty much straight away as well. We might do a full-time show. We might not. If I don't do a full-time show, well, I definitely won't do one. But if we don't do a full-time show, then what I will do, I will get all the fan reactions and put them together and just create a podcast via that. Cheap, cheerful, job done. Do it that way. I will try and get Andy Jones or Matt from the Burnley Express or somebody on the show next week to discuss transfers and try and fill the gap there. But if I don't see you before, the next time I'll see you will probably be for Luton. But I will be doing a 60-second review and I will be doing a fan reaction. Liam and Neil will potentially both do one as well. I will be asking the question over the next couple of days. Well, tomorrow. But thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for commenting. Thank you to Liam for coming on. So it's good to have you back on, mate.
No problem at all. Absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you.
And Neil is part of the furniture. He's here pretty much every week, apart from at Christmas when he's busy. How dare he?
Yeah.
But thank you to you as well, mate.
No bother. Enjoy it.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next time.